Welcome to the DAC podcast. My name is Lydia Miller, and in this podcast, I'm talking through the things that I'm learning in an MBA program and how I'm applying that information to my small business. Thanks for joining me. Now let's get started. Welcome back to the DAC podcast. I took a little bit of a break last week from releasing the podcast, and I'm so sorry if you're a regular listener that we didn't have the episode ready for you guys, but it truly was my fault because last week we started summer classes, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, I started my summer classes, and I'm doing 3 this summer for my MBA, and one of them is accounting, the other is leadership, and the third one is HR, and I have been looking forward to these classes for so long because, one, for accounting, because that was my undergrad, and I wanted the different perspective of managerial accounting instead of just financial accounting, so I've been excited about that class. HR, because it's about hiring team members and having that part of your organization that I've never really been a part of before. So I was excited to learn about that. And then the leadership class as well, which is kind of the capstone class for the program. And I've been really nervous about that class because there's this huge paper that we have to write. But as soon as I started watching all the lectures, I just kept watching and I didn't realize how much time it was taking up. And I ended up doing 25% of the classwork for all 3 classes in a week. Now, that is just stupid. Like, I cannot keep up with that. I was so overwhelmed last week and I couldn't figure out why and I was crying because I couldn't get everything finished and I didn't know what the problem was and I felt behind in everything. And then I realized, oh, there's a reason why you space out the classes as you're supposed to. And my husband, who is in a master's program up at Liberty University, he's doing it online. He actually took a class that told you how to take online classes. And he was making fun of me because, of course, I didn't have that class because my program doesn't need that. And he, lovingly explained to me that this is why you don't do this, because you get burnout and then exhausted. So that's where I was at last week. So if you are taking online classes this summer, I feel you. I understand the struggle it is because you have to keep up with the schedule yourself and you have to be very disciplined and you really don't have anyone to be with you in the process, or if you don't know anybody who's doing this summer, it's very, very difficult. So if you are doing it this summer as well, I commend you for that. And let me know. Find me on social media at DAC Balance LLC, and just let me know what you're taking. I'd be very interested to hear that. So, like I said, we are in the midst right now of this analyzing series that we're doing, and the title of the whole series is Analysis is Not Your Solution. Now, whenever we're talking about all these different areas of your business that you can analyze, hear me out. This is not going to be the end. You're not going to analyze this different parts of your business and then realize, okay, that's the end. I've analyzed it and I'm good to go now. No, you do have to take action on it. You do have to make decisions from that. This is just to help give you the questions to ask yourself of, okay, what should I be analyzing and what should I not worry about so much? And if you find out maybe you weren't analyzing something and it's a problem, maybe that's what's catching you up and maybe that's what you need to be looking at for your business. And I'm doing this as well with my business. This is a growing experience for all of us. So, I may have some stories along the way, or I may point you in another direction to say, read this book by this author, that kind of thing. And another thing that happened this week that I want to tell you guys about that I'm super excited about is I booked my ticket for Business Boutique in Nashville in November, and I splurged. I went for the VIP ticket and I'm so excited. I actually went to this event for the one-day event last spring. So in 2017, I went to the one in Atlanta and I went ahead and I purchased the VIP ticket for that day as well, mainly because it was a one-day event and lunch was included. And during that lunch, we had a private speaker panel with Christy Wright and Dave Ramsey, and it was so informative. And I absolutely loved the VIP experience. And I have never been to the event in Nashville before, but I am looking forward to it so much. There's already some speakers that I'm really excited to hear from and to get to know a little bit better. And most of the speakers I've never actually heard them speak before, or I didn't know anything about them when I saw them on the list. So I'm excited about that as well. And that's actually how I found a couple of other speakers and different people that I really like to follow now, is through that event. So if you're going to that event, let me know. Maybe we can, like meet in person. That'd be really cool to meet someone who actually listens to this podcast. I would love that. So let me know if you're going to be at the conference, and I'm sure I'll be talking a little bit more about that as we go along. And I'll probably do a podcast episode of what I learned from the event and things that I've took away from the event as well. So that is going to be the first week of November. And I think that my husband and I are going to make a little vacation out of it. I think we're going to go up to the mountains and stay for a few more days after that. We're in Pensacola right now, so it's a good little drive, but it'll be nice to get away and then to kind of debrief after that and think through things out, in a cabin in the woods where there's just peace and quiet out there. So we are so much looking forward to that already. Okay. So that was a side note. Anyway, so we are going to talk about analysis today, and what we're going to look at is our product or our service. And I'm going to use those terms interchangeably. They are not, I understand that, but I'm going to use them interchangeably in this episode. So the goal of our product or our service that we do for our customers, no matter what you have, especially if you're like me and you have a bookkeeping company where pretty much bookkeeping is bookkeeping. Like, it's not one CPA firm from another. They might offer, more niche areas. One might offer construction. The other might offer for lawyers, things like that. But in the end, accounting is accounting is accounting. Bookkeeping is bookkeeping is bookkeeping. So the goal of analyzing our product position is we are trying to move from brand parity to brand equity. And that means we are trying to move our products from being viewed as the same, as equal, as a commodity, as there is nothing special about this, as plain, as boring. We're trying to move that in the mind of our ideal clients to brand value, to our brand is more valuable. We offer more, we offer a higher quality, we offer a better service. We are not like everybody else in our industry. That is the goal of analyzing our products. And here's why that we want to do this. Here's why we want to move from being the same to being different and more valuable for our potential clients. We're not going to be more valuable for every client, but for our potential clients, we want to be viewed as more valuable. It's because if you compete on brand parity or brand sameness, then you are competing on price. That is what it boils down to. You are competing to have the lowest price for the best value for the customer, not for your business to have the most profit at the end of the day. Because price is the only thing that's different if you have the same type of company. And you have to build equity. You have to build value based on something in your business. You have to change your marketing. You have to attract a certain type of client. So if you're a bookkeeping, maybe the way that you're different is that you offer only one type of bookkeeping for a certain type of software, maybe. So maybe you are old school and you've stayed with like Mass 90 or something that was way back in the 90s, but people still use it because they just don't want to change. So maybe your bookkeeping company across the whole country, all you do is offer support for that type of system, or maybe you only offer for that, and that is the way that you're different. And maybe you have found customers that are loyal to you and that stay in your niche, and that's great. You have created value based on that. Maybe you create value based on you are paperless and you use every technology. You find apps for your customers. You have the best quality. You don't actually do any type of data entry, and you just focus on the numbers and you just focus on getting everything online for your customers. So maybe that is your lane that you want to stay in, and that's great. Maybe you focus on a certain type of industry. Maybe it's just construction, or it's just lawyers, or it's just service-based businesses, or it's just tech companies or things like that. You have to move from being looked at as, I do business for everybody and I help everybody out, because eventually you're going to help nobody out because you don't have a place to be. You have to move from there to offering for only a certain group of people. Now, this is really, really difficult, especially if you're looking at your business and if you're looking at your customers and what you're offering, and you can see a smorgasbord of clients that you have and industries that they're in. And it might mean you have to say no to some clients. It might mean that you tell them, hey, at the end of this year, I can't keep servicing you the way that my business is changing. I mean, I'm sorry, I'll help you find somebody else, but this relationship has to end somehow. You might have to do that to make room for customers that are going to fit what you're trying to do in your business. You're not trying here either to trick your customers. You're trying to build equity for them. So, and this is what I mean by that. So with your marketing, if you are talking about, you offer, only paperless bookkeeping, you're not trying to trick them into thinking that they'll never have paper again, because that's crazy. You're still going to have paper, but you do want to explain to them that means that everything is stored on the cloud, that there are no backups for this on paper, that we don't print things out for you. So you want to be obviously very clear with your customers about what you're offering to them and what you're not offering to them. And that all that communication, needs to be very clear, and it needs to be communicated quite often to your clients as well. Okay, so I have 3 things for you to look at as far as your customers go to see if your business has started to build brand value or brand equity yet. And if you haven't, then these are 3 areas that you can look at to see how you can improve. So number 1, your product specifications or your performance for your customers. You want to look and see if the product that you're offering or the service that you're offering is up to par with what you want it to be. Now, it could mean that you have hired a team member to do something and maybe they're not performing like you want them to, or maybe that's not a good fit for your organization anymore. It might be time to put them where their strengths are, and that might not be with your company at this point. It might mean that you have to learn a new skill, or maybe you have to learn how to do something better in your own business. It might mean that you have to learn new technology, invest in something new, that type of thing. And that's one of the things that I actually looked at this past week or the past few months on. I want to have all of my clients' information attached in QuickBooks Online so that it's audit proof. And so that, which basically means that if there were an audit, I could pull up QuickBooks Online, look at every single transaction and have the receipt already attached so that there's paper backup online for each transaction that we can defend if the IRS ever audited one of my clients. The problem was I hadn't really been doing that. I have the records, but I hadn't been attaching them in QuickBooks Online because my scanner was so difficult to work with. And so that's one of the areas that I looked at my business is, okay, so if I want to grow in that area, then I need to purchase something that's better. And so I actually did purchase something this week. It's called ScanSnap. It's a new type of scanner that I heard about in a bookkeeping group that I'm in on Facebook, and everyone just raved about it. So it was expensive, but I decided that was value for my business right there. That is going to offer more to my clients because I'm going to be able to scan things in faster. Another thing that I did this week was I opened up a HubDoc account, and I had been kind of resisting this. And HubDoc, if you're listening, here's why. HubDoc had called me, I don't know how many dozens and dozens of times, but each time they called, they introduced themselves, but not really. And I kept asking, like, where'd you get my phone number from? And why are you calling me? And they kept saying, if you just have a minute, we want to walk you through this demonstration, without even really getting my permission to do that or anything. And it just got so annoying because at one point they were calling like every single day. And I got to the point where I just said, do not call me anymore, period. Like, I'm not interested right now. I'm way too overwhelmed. This is not the time. And they just weren't listening. But I did find that they are the best for what they're doing right now. So I went ahead and opened an account, and it was great. I did the self tutorial and I'm using them, and so far it's been all right, but for sure that was not the way to go about it. But that was one of the things I had to decide was, am I going to let my pride stand in the way, or am I just going to bite the bullet and open up an account with them and, give in to, their marketing tactics, I suppose. But those were a couple things I did this week to see, okay, so the bookkeeping services that I'm offering, are they up to par? And the answer was no. It wasn't because the information was wrong. It's just because the information isn't timely enough and it wasn't as technology driven as I wanted it to be. So those were a couple things, how I analyzed the service that I'm offering and changed this past week. Okay, so the second thing that I want you to analyze for your business, for your product is your customer satisfaction. And the satisfaction is just really defined as perceived or realized value that your customers are getting. Do your customers realize the value that they're getting? Do they understand that? And this is, you want to be positively, outrageously generous in your service. You want to give more than the customers expect, not necessarily in product. You don't have to give more product away because that does cost you money, but it could be that you give more service away. So maybe you're giving away more opportunities to learn how to use your product. So if you like sell t-shirts on Instagram, maybe that's where you mainly sell. Instead of just showing the t-shirt, maybe you show people like outfits for what you can wear for the t-shirt. Maybe you do a brand collaboration and you do it with like Jamberry or something like that, where it shows the nails in your t-shirt. Or maybe you show the best way to wash your t-shirts. I don't know. Maybe you show, okay, so after your t-shirt is worn down, here's where you can donate to animal shelters. Or maybe this is what you can do to recycle your t-shirts whenever you're done with them, because they're not going to last for forever. But you just want to give a next level of service to your customers. A way to do this is, if you want to have your phone number available, but you don't want to have your personal number available, you can get a Google number and you can turn it on and off, and it's an actual telephone number that people can dial, but they don't have to have your personal cell phone number. So they can text you on that, and they can send you messages, and you can answer the phone for that. Maybe you want to give that to everybody and say, I'm the CEO and here's my direct line. Now that would be a step up for sure, but maybe you do that for your customers and have it on, a couple hours a week. You just want to give more than they expect for your customers, and you can decide it's different for every single company. It's different for every type of industry that you're in to do that type of thing. So you want to make sure that you are giving that value to them, and that they're realizing that you are a step above your competition, and that you are a step above any other company that they've ever worked with. Okay, so the third thing that you want to look at to analyze for your product is your loyalty, or the repeat purchases that you have for your customers. And if you are a frequent customer of somewhere, you expect to get better treatment from them because you purchase more often. Because really, when it comes down to it, most of your marketing is your customer service and how you treat your customers. Think about different places that you go and how you've had excellent customer service before, or where you've gone, where you've made repeat purchases. Maybe you have been with them a long time, and think about companies that have treated you well and companies that have not treated you so well. And you want to make sure that the people who do purchase from you a lot get a better loyalty from you, and that they get a better return on what they're getting. Or maybe after so many purchases, they get something for free, or maybe they get a special video where you explain something to them, or some type of training if they're looking for that, or just different things like that. If they frequent you, just to treat them like they're a VIP, to treat them with loyalty, because then they'll treat you, that will also move them from the same, and from brand parity to brand equity in their minds for your business. You want to do things like that. So maybe if you have an online business, maybe you have a private community where only your VIPs get to hang out, and they get special deals there, and they get to know about things first and things like that. You want to make them feel like they are kind of like royalty almost, that they just get every ounce of your loyalty from you. Okay. So I feel like I say okay a lot. I am going to try to stop that for my loyal podcast listeners. I'm going to try to stop saying okay all the time. And all right, when I almost just said all right again. Okay. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about analyzing your product, and that was in the mind of your consumer. Next, we're going to talk about analyzing your product relative to the competition. So here are just some basic things that you want to look at and see how you're different than your competition, just to know. You don't even have to change anything if you don't need to, but just to know how you stack up to your competition, think about this. Number 1, price. Always good to know. Number 2, quality. Whose quality is better and why is it better? Number 3, esteem. How are you viewed? Number 4, durability. How long will it last? Number 5, serviceability. And how do your customers think about these things compared to other people? Are they, and this just happens by asking questions to them and by just talking to your competition if you can, talking to other clients and things like that. And do you want to subtly build in that comparison? Now, I know that we're not supposed to compare ourselves to other people, but for the business, sometimes it might be good for your customers to see the difference between you and other companies if they're looking for that. So for my business, I would be comparing my business to another bookkeeping business or maybe even to a CPA firm. If a client's looking at me versus a CPA firm, that might be the best way to compare. I might tell them, okay, like you could go with the CPA firm because they do have the CPAs and they have more staff, but they may charge you more. Number one. Number two, they may not be able to adapt as easily. They may not be able to get the apps that I'm able to get. They may not have the expertise in QuickBooks Online because they do so many different industries. And number three, they may not be able to give you the quality of customer service if they are concerned about so many more accounts that they have. And that's great. And maybe you want to be just one of the many. Maybe you just want to get it done. Or maybe you want someone and only one person to be on your account and to really know your business. And so that's where my business would be different. So you have to kind of bring in that comparison. And it might be that as you're comparing, they decide to go with the competition because you've told them everything about your competition. And that's okay, because that means that they weren't going to be a good fit for you anyway. They weren't going to be a good customer for you, and you have to understand that you're not selling to every person, because every person's not going to be a customer, and that's all right. And here is the last little tidbit that I want to leave you with today as you're analyzing your product and as you're thinking about these things, you're learning about your product and what it is and what you can be selling, and as you're about to go out and tell everybody about this product. People love to buy, but they hate being sold to. This is so apparent to me, especially if I'm on social media, are the people who join a direct sales company or who started a small business and they are just trying to sell. And they are trying really hard and they really want you to buy from them because they want to be able to, win a trip or stay at home or different things like that. And that is great. Those are not bad goals to have. But if you're just trying to sell, it's going to make it hard for people to love to buy from you. So what you need to do is just put the information out there and maybe just base yourself differently so now I'm thinking about direct sales. So maybe instead of you're just one of the many consultants, you decide that you specialize. So if you have like a skincare direct sales business, maybe you go from I sell skincare to I sell skincare solutions for teenagers using X company. And I teach your teenager how to take care of her face and how to make her face look naturally beautiful and how to make sure that she has good skin for the long run and teach her the best ways that she can take care of her skin. Now that sounds, now you're selling there because you want to know, because you have moved from I'm the same, I sell this product to I help your teenager with this, because obviously their teenager is not listening to their mother about wash your face, drink all your water, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. They're not listening to that, but a mom would listen to you and hear you say, I try to help your teenager do this type of thing. And that sells a lot less salesy than just buy my product because this is a great deal this month. That isn't going to really help you out because they don't love to buy that if you're just trying to sell to them. So again, people love to buy, but they hate being sold to. And I want you to think about that as you go through your week and as you're looking at your marketing and how you can change and how you can do better. And I will be doing the same this week as well. So if you are on social media, make sure that you find me. I'm on Instagram at DAC Balance LLC, or you can find me at Lydia G. Miller. I'm there as well. You can find me on Facebook at DAC Balance LLC, and you can look at my website, lydiagmiller.com, to find out more information about DAC Balance, what I'm offering, and my entrepreneurial journey. So thank you for being here today. Again, I apologize. This episode wasn't up last week, but I'm learning to pace myself better for these classes, and I look forward to talking with you guys next week.